this right. It's John Curtis, FIDE Master John Curtis, and today I'd like to look at Grandmaster Lev Polugaevsky, who was one of the strongest chess grandmasters in history, to have never been world champion. And Lev played in quite a number of USSR championships and tied for first on a few occasions there back in the 1960s, in 67, 68 and 69. He was an expert on the NAJDORF Sicilian and a frequent contender for the world title. He became a Soviet Grandmaster, and as I say, he was a leading expert on the NAJDORF Sicilian. Anyway, I'm going to look at one of his games. I'm going to take this game from the USSR Championship in 1960. He was playing TIGRAN Petrosian. And we all know TIGRAN Petrosian, the world champion. So we're going to go into chess.com and to the analytics board. And we're going to play through the game of Polugaevsky, TIGRAN Petrosian and Polugaevsky, and have a little look at it in the analysis board on chess.com, which is a wonderful tool. So if you're thinking of joining a chess site, chess.com has some wonderful functions, puzzles and a lot of game commentators and instructional videos, and of course the analysis board, which I'm going to show you. Right, so Polugaevsky was white, and he played d4, and the bar on the left shows the strength of the position. You can see it's pretty equal now. White's got a very minimalist advantage, and now TIGRAN Petrosian replies with knight to f6. Polugaevsky plays c4, gets a star as best move, and Petrosian plays e6. Now, one thing about Polugaevsky, he was an opening theoretician. That was one of his greatest strengths, and over-the-board positional depth and analysis. Wasn't so great on tactics. Obviously a lot better than me, but at a world championship level, that was probably or some people say that was probably the only area of his game which probably could have used some improvement. Right, so knight to c3 was played by Polugaevsky. Lev, his name was Lev Polugaevsky, Lev Abramovich Polugaevsky, and black replied bishop to b4. Right, so we're looking at a Nimzo Indian, and white replied e3, just developing white's bishop ready to go to d3, and supporting the pawn in the centre. Black castled to commence operations in the centre. Bishop d3, d5. Right, so black stakes his claim in the centre, and it's all defended by the pawn on e6 here. And white develops a piece knight f3, preparing to castle. So white staked his claims in the centre, and black's challenging that now. And if you look at the position, it's fairly equal, and as indicated by the black and white bars, it's halfway at half mast there. And now black played c5, and Lev decided to castle. Right, just castle. We've got a little book there, so it's a theoretical move. D takes c4, bishop takes c4 and recaptures, and b6 by black. And it says our book move, queen to e2. That's a usual move in a lot of these Queen's Gambit openings, where you follow up with rook to d1. bishop to b7. And what do you know? He's grabbing the long diagonal. He's trying to complete his development. And rook to d1, as we explained, a common move in this opening. Black played knight on the b file to d7. He gets a question mark, exclamation mark, and White's position is slightly better. And the engine says that knight to b file d7 is an inaccuracy, and so we'll find out what happens. d5, a big star for White. Bishop takes c3. I think if you recapture pawn takes pawn and the knight takes, well, you're just going to end up with a much worse position with a bishop on b4 that's out of play, certainly very inactive, and might even get trapped in some variations. Right, so bishop c3, and he gets a thumbs up for that. Says bishop takes c3 is an excellent move. Did say knight takes d5 was best. Now, d takes e6. The whole idea is that we won't recapture the bishop straight away. We'll take this pawn, and then if you recapture, we'll take the bishop when it suits us. But Black cleverly returns his bishop to the a5 square. However, the computer says this is an inaccuracy, right? So let's see what happens. White plays e takes d7 with a star. Now Black plays queen to c7. Now this is an inaccuracy. The engine is saying that knight g5 is a better move, but of course TIGRAN Petrosian was a world champion. I don't want to find myself being critical of TIGRAN, but that's what the engine says. Queen c7, e4. Now e4 is an inaccuracy. I don't know whether these guys have got blind spots on the day, but there's a couple of serious inaccuracies from them. And perhaps that's why we do find it's a 31-move game. But we'll just see what happens. Right, I think what White's trying to do is develop quickly, e4, and get his bishop working, at the same time distract Black from recapturing that pawn. So after e4, knight takes d7, and it's the best move, and Black has recaptured the pawn. Now White continues with knight to g5, right? Now that threatens to play possibly queen to h5, or bishop takes pawn check and queen to h5, or some sort of combinations there. Rook on the a file to d8. Now, the computer gives that as a good move, but says bishop c6 is best. You might see the little arrow there. Now, Lev Polugaevsky, he plays bishop takes f7. The rook recaptures, and that's the best move. Now, Lev plays knight to e6, and apparently that move is better than capturing the castle on f7 straight away. It says this is definitely the best move. So the queen goes back to c8, and that is the best move. Knight takes d8, the best move. Now, here we get a critical position. One would think that queen takes d8, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces as opposed to 3 pieces. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And we've only got 3 pieces we've only got 4 pieces for White. Now, we have White's position is such that White has the rook for the two minor pieces. That's the situation that we've got. But, you know, I would prefer to play black in this position. I'd rather play Petrosian's position. But we'll see what happens. Bishop to a6. He decides to hit the queen. But the computer says this is a blunder, and that queen takes the knight is the best move. So this simpleton here, I don't profess to be in the Grandmaster level. I would have just retaken the knight, and Petrosian was looking for a better move, but it's a double question mark move. He may have overlooked White's next move, which is queen to e3. Strange move, but queen to e3, and it says it's the best move. Now, if king takes knight, I can't see if queen takes knight, I don't see what's wrong with queen takes knight. But black played rook e7. I don't understand it. I think black's thinking that the knight's trapped anyway, I'll just improve my piece position. And White played queen to b3 check. He's trying to extricate the knight. And he's thinking, well, what on earth are you doing? So he played c4, and now White played queen to a3. Now, I think the problem is now that if you take the knight, and this is what Petrosian overlooked, if you take the knight, queen takes knight, bishop comes over here to g5 and pins your rook against your queen. So you're double exchange. You've got another exchange as one. So the two castles might be deadly in that position where the bishops have got limited scope. The two castles might be a deadly proposition. So, and this is why he should have captured this knight earlier. So now he tries to complicate things with knight to c5, which is the best move. Probably looking at playing knight to d3, and then picking up the knight when because the rook will no longer be protecting the knight. White continues bishop to e3. I don't know why he didn't play bishop hits rook. I suppose he was concerned that rook takes pawn and be played or something. But he played bishop e3. And black played rook takes e4. So he's not worried about the e-pawn. And white recaptured, played bishop takes c5. Okay, and that's the best move. Queen takes c5. And that was a blunder. All right. Black should have played c3 and pushed the pawn on. So that was c3 was the best move. Now, in this position, White played queen to f3. It gets a star as best move. Now, in this position, Black resigned, TIGRAN Petrosian resigned. But let's look at what happens if the rook moves back to protect it. Say you move back here, for example. The knight, as best move, the knight can go here, getting a big star, threatening checkmate and threatening the queen. Now, if you play rook takes knight, queen would check at the back, and the no, he wouldn't. He would go back. Whoop. He would go rook checks. I stand corrected. Rook checks because the king is cut off by the queen here, and that would be a mating net because if you put your queen in, queen takes queen check, And if you put the rook in, rook takes rook, checkmate. Right? Rook takes rook, queen in, and you lose the whole house. So I think that's what he overlooked. He overlooked this knight e6, which is a real monster of a move. So just go back and have a look at that again. So we've got this position here. Now, there it is. This is the position. And now knight e6. Look at that beautiful move. Attacking the queen. Right? The knight's on for nothing, you'd think. But the rook checks if you take the knight. Right? But if you don't take the knight, it's the devil you know and the devil you don't. Because the queen's threatening mate and your queen's attacked. So the only move would probably be queen to c8 and then rook checks would finish black off, and TIGRAN Petrosian, the great Russian Grandmaster, would resign in that position. So thank you very much for watching today. I really enjoyed this game. It's from the round 14 of the USSR Championship in 1960, and it's the Gligorich system of the Nimzo Indian Defence. Thank you again, and have a pleasant Christmas holiday break. Cheerio.